I sold it 2 years ago. I retired. I had it for 22 years, and somebody wanted it more than I did.
Oh, okay. Okay, so what do you do now? Just
Well, I'm retired, and all I do now is basically um, work between my church, and we do a lot of charity work with helping, older people if they need something done to their house. A group of us from the church will go do it, and we keep jobs like that going.
well, that is cool. And so now, since you're retired, you'd have a lot of time to devote to county council.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. Now, tell me about why you want to be on county council. What is it that interests you?
Well, the west side of the county, definitely needs representation on county council. And with Austin resigning and all that he went through, and I think he did a good job representing the county, but there was no one to take his place. And a lot of people started calling me and asking me to consider it. And some people I knew and some people I didn't know. And I said, well, I'll think about it and pray about it and talk to my wife about it. And then I said, well, if I'm going to do it, I'll get in 100%. I'm not going to do it, halfway. And so I decided to go ahead and throw my name in the pot.
Well, that is cool. Now, what's some of the issues that concern you the most about, especially for the Andrews area?
Well, the biggest ones for the entire county, just not talking about District 5, the biggest thing we're going to face is replacing Sale as county administrator. That's going to be huge, and it needs to be done right. And I worked in human resources for UPS for quite a few years. I worked with them for 20 years, and so I'm somewhat familiar with hiring and firing, so to speak. So once we get the applicants sorted out and we start the interviews, that's going to be huge, because the county's going to really go the direction of the county administrator. If you hire a poor county administrator, you're going to have a poor run county, and I don't want to see that happen. And which then he's going to have to turn around and hire a budget director or a finance director, I think the county calls it. I'm not real sure how much the county council has input into that. I think it's hired directly by the county administrator. And the next thing we have to do for the entire county is going to straighten out the budget. We got somewhat of a budget problem. Most people are not familiar with the budget, and they only I've had a chance to go through it. It's somewhat complicated. It's not like a business budget. It's very similar, but it has a few things that are different. Mm-hmm. And only when you get your budget, when your budget is out of whack, so to speak, only two things you can do. One is cut operation expense or increase revenues to bring it back into balance. And most of the time you have to do a combination of the two. So the decisions that will be made to do that could affect the county years down the road.
Now, one thing they're looking at as far as bringing in more revenue is business licenses. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm against flat out starting a business license, being the next business owner, knowing what these small businesses, the big businesses, it won't affect. They will adjust their budget, and some budgets are so big it's not going to affect them. But the small businesses is the one I was concerned with, and I have no say so until after the election. If I'm lucky enough to be elected, but just flat out starting a business license, say vote on it, pass it. Okay, we're going to start it next year, and we're going to do this percentage rate. I'm against that. I would be much more inclined to be in favor of something that was phased in over a period of years to allow these small businesses to adjust their budget accordingly unfortunately coming up to a time because a small business, if they come up with another $2,000 expense, then what most of them will do, well, I'm not going to get paid for this month because I got this other expense. But if it's phased in over a period of years and let them adjust their budget to it gradually, I think it would be much more palatable to the small business owner.
Let me ask you about a perception, and it may be a perception, it may be reality. I don't know, but a lot of times you hear people, especially that live in the western part of the county, Andrews, Pleasant Hill, wherever, they feel like the Waccamaw Neck is the place that gets the most attention from county council. Georgetown area is second, and what's left over goes to Andrews and that part of the county. Do you think that's true?
Well, that's the perception from a bunch of people over here. But when you get down to brass tacks with it, you start looking at it. The majority of the tax base comes from the Waccamaw Neck area. They have the biggest population, and of course, when you have that, and you have the more tourists in that area, that's where a larger part of your budget is going to be concentrated. And the things over here that affect this side of the county versus the Waccamaw Neck area, most of the time is entirely different. We might have a problem with just a main drainage ditch needing to be cleaned out periodically versus once every 10 years, could make a whole section of people over here happy. Mm-hmm. Whereas over at the beach, you need to put in widen the road or put in more turn lanes or another traffic light or something like that. So you're basically looking at different things that affect both sides of the county.
Yeah. So let me just ask you real quick. I mean, why, in your words, why should people vote for you rather than your opponent on Tuesday?
Well, I grew up in Andrews, born and raised. I left for 20 years to go to college and work for UPS. And they moved me around quite a bit. I got to see, live in different towns and different areas, and I had several different jobs at UPS. They never let you stay in one your entire career. They would let you stay 4 or 5 years, and then they'd move you over to something else. And so you wouldn't become stagnant. So I've got to see a lot of different ends of how a business, big corporation runs. Then when I left there and come back home and started running my own business, there's probably no better training anyone could ever have in their entire life than running their own business. Mm-hmm. Until you've done it and experienced it, you'll never know what it's really like. And from that perspective, when I'm on county council, when we pass something, I'm going to have real firsthand knowledge, okay, how is this going to affect the businesses in the community, especially District 5. We don't have as many businesses in this area as we do in Georgetown and over in the Waccamaw Neck area, but the ones that we do have are just as important as the ones that are over at the beach.
Well, that's true. Well, very good. Anything else you want to say that I didn't think to ask? I mean, I could have asked 1,000 questions, but after about 10 minutes, people would not listen any longer. So, so I try to keep it kind of.
Well, I just hope there's a big voter turnout. It's a very important election for the county. We want to continue to grow, and as a county, and I am a conservative. I'm a Christian conservative, and I tend to vote that way. And I don't think that even though I am conservative, sometimes you have to spend money in order to grow your business, and the county is a business, and that's what they've been doing, and I hope to continue that, but you have to do it in a smart way, and in a controlled way, just not haphazardly. A lot of stuff we do today might not affect the county for 10, 15 years, but we have to have leadership and forethought to look down the road.